Hello friends, James Stevenson back with another episode of Who's Hatin' Hard on Tesla Today. Let me run the Who's Hatin' Hard on Tesla Today sizzle while I let you know today's hater is going to be Grant Belden. Let me move this camera a little bit. There. So Grant Belden is the hater today. Now you may think he's not an anonymous Twitter account because at least he's using his real name, even if he doesn't have a profile pic. But you couldn't be more wrong. You may not know, it's trivia, that the person behind the Grant Belden Twitter account has tweeted before that it's a pseudonym. It's not a real name. Okay. And maybe, I don't know where the name Grant Belden came from. I'm not sure he has said how he came up with that fake name. But Loki, you can see, is snoozing in bed right now. Let's share my desktop with you, and I have to give the assist for today's episode of Who's Hatin' Hard on Tesla Today to Holmar's Catalog at Holmar's Blog on Twitter, who tweeted a couple of screenshots that I think are worth noting on Grant Belden. Here's a tweet he sent on March the 20th, 2023. I went short Tesla today at $183.21. Not that big a position, was bored. Main thesis is regulatory headwinds. I think they're going to start getting slapped around by NHTSA more. FSD is more of a liability than anything else at this point. Okay, so what's Grant telling us here? He went short at 183. It wasn't a very big position. And he thinks that NHTSA, the agency that confirmed with their data that Tesla has produced the 3 safest vehicles they've ever tested, is going to start slapping Tesla around, he says here. And that he believes FSD is a net liability to Tesla, that Tesla's going to regret ever having had an FSD program because they're going to lose more money as a result of FSD than they'll ever make on it. Let's go to the next slide here that Holmar's Catalog provided us with. What's this say? It shows that over the past 3 months, Tesla stock has risen by $95. So since March the 20th, Tesla stock has risen by about $100. So what's that mean if you shorted Tesla on March the 20th? It means you're down an unrealized loss of $100 per share that you shorted, right? So if Grant shorted Tesla stock of, I don't know, 100 shares, I don't know what he considers not that big a position, then he's out $10,000, 100 shares times $100, if he had to cover that short position at 283. So a lot of times the short sellers don't want to cover. They believe that the stock price is going to fall again, so they just refuse to cover their short position until their brokerage does it for them. So if you've heard of a margin call, that's the situation that happens when somebody has exhausted their credit limit with their brokerage, and they have had their positions go in a direction they did not intend by so much money that their brokerage closes that position for them. That's a margin call. So I hope Grant doesn't get margin called on his Tesla short position that he opened here. Let's see what else Holmar's has for us. Oof, in this second tweet from Grant Belden on the 6th of June, 2021, so a little over 2 years ago, Grant said, the idea behind Tesla is what? Electric vehicles? They were novel 5 years ago. Everyone, Ford, GM, Volkswagen, offers them today. Just my opinion, but I think Elon will be remembered as a fraud. The next 12 months will be interesting. Well, this is what you expect to see from people hating hard on Tesla in this feature. Elon is a fraud. Nothing special at Tesla. Ford, GM, and Volkswagen. The competition is coming to crush Tesla's EV sales. If you know anything about EV sales lately, you know that Tesla Model Y is not only the best-selling EV in the world, it's the best-selling car in the world this year. So the competition has not come for Tesla yet. Now, I'm not switching the topic of the video to Brad Munkin, but I did want to show you some more Grant Belden tweets and the context in which they appear. Here's Brad saying, you only have ammo on me from 2019, because I was sharing his tweets, that he believed Tesla would never sell more than 40,000 vehicles in China. So he asks, anything from me recently? You're down 50% since November 21. Okay, but still up 20x from 2019. Yeah, so I'm okay. Don't worry about me, Brad. Worry about the fact that you've been shorting Tesla since 2019. So I provided a few screenshots of him being wrong, including one where he predicted Tesla's Q4 2022 earnings would be, quote, the biggest miss since Enron. And then Tesla's earnings were up 50% year over year in Q4 2022. So Grant Belden had to admit you guys were both wrong. He had to admit Brad was wrong, so he decided to lump me in there too and say, I've been wrong more recently. But Grant claimed that he was always right, though. So, well, you know I'm going to come back if you make a claim like, you've always been right. Let's see what we have here. Reply from me, oh yes, you two have made much smarter predictions and investing decisions in regard to Tesla than I have, with a laughing emoji. Brad recently predicted Tesla will lose money in 2023, this year. My forecast is that Tesla will make positive earnings in 2023. It'll be a positive number. Do you think he's right and I'm wrong, Brad? Do you think he's been right more recently than I have, claiming Tesla would lose money in 2023? Let's take a look at this chart. What do we have here? Well, it's a 5-year stock chart that I tweeted at the time. You know, Tesla stock has touched like 106, I think, before bouncing all the way back up, close to 300 recently. So what do we see here? This is my tweet from the 5-year low on June 3rd, 2019. I tweeted, to buy low and sell high, you must first buy low. And a bunch of people did buy Tesla stock that day after seeing this tweet. It got a lot of engagement. A year later, what was Grant Belden tweeting about? Well, here he tweeted that Tesla was worth a fraction of what it's trading at. Even if it's a great company with admirable goals, those aren't mutually exclusive ideas. Now, after adjusting for splits, Tesla was trading below $100 on July 27th, 2020. Now, we don't know what fraction of that less than $100 stock price Grant meant when he said Tesla was worth a fraction of what it was trading at. But we do know that Tesla has not traded at a fraction of that stock price at any point since. Then in September 8th, 2020, Grant admitted that he was still short Tesla. He hadn't exited his Tesla short position at that time. Was that the right call? No. Tesla stock did a lot of rising and not a lot of falling below that point. Except for very briefly, end of December, beginning of January 2023, you know, and has since recovered up this year more than 100%. And what else do I have for you here? Okay, has Grant learned his lesson? Has he stopped shorting Tesla? Has he covered? Is he an FSD believer now? Does he think robotaxis will happen one day in the future? No. He's replying here to John Chabowski, saying it's not semantics. I hope I'm getting John's name right. Level 2 ADAS systems, advanced driver assistance systems, can't drive cars, so please stop claiming they can. So Grant says FSD can't drive a car. And John replies, no, I'll use whatever words I like to describe the FSD experience as I see fit. And my opinion on this topic is worth infinitely more than yours, because he uses FSD and Grant hasn't even tried FSD. So who are you going to believe? The person who has first-hand experience using FSD, or the person who only knows about it from reading Tesla Q tweets? So what did Grant reply here? I know you'll use whatever words you want. The problem is they're stupid. You use stupid words, Grant says here. Tagging me next, saying James was trying to convince me they're already robotaxis a while ago. Do whatever you need to make yourself feel better. Just don't expect normal people to agree. I replied, Here's a guy who doesn't know the difference between hardware and software. And Grant says, James still thinks they're already robotaxis, and makes a dumb joke here. And I replied, what do you call a computer if there's no operating system installed? You call it a computer. It's still a computer, even if there's no software on it. It can't do any computing until you load software onto it, but it's already a computer. Grant replies, wait, so today's stock price already reflects 4 million robotaxis out on the roads? Bummer. Now, I know not all of you are going to agree with me on this point. It's a bit of a ship of Theseus discussion, a bit of a philosophical argument over whether it can be called a robotaxi, or at what point it is right to call it a robotaxi. Somewhere along the timeline from being produced, manufactured, delivered, going through FSD beta testing, getting whatever the robotaxi build of software is installed on it, being hailed, picking up a passenger without a driver in the driver's seat, taking them to their destination and dropping them off. At some point along that timeline, most people will admit that it is a robotaxi that Tesla produced, whatever day that Tesla left the factory, right? So people are only disagreeing about their decision point for at what milestone they admit that it's a robotaxi. So I replied, the answer varies by market participant. Many opinions make a market. So a lot of different Tesla shareholders are going to have different opinions about whether today's Teslas count as robotaxis yet or not, and that's fine. Short sellers, of course, don't think FSD is legit and don't think robotaxis will ever happen. By and large, there may be some who do. To which Grant replies, I'm sure all the people with the big bucks agree with your take, he said sarcastically, so it's probably largely priced in. Maybe there's a little bit of concern trolling here. Uh-oh, what if that's already priced into the stock price, then it's due to crash later. Anyway, congrats to Tesla for the 4 million robotaxis. So I replied, hard to believe, some doubted, with my chart here showing how many Teslas Tesla has produced since making their first Roadster way back in 2008. Here is the cumulative production. Tesla now way over 4 million, over 4.6 million vehicles produced to date, and all of them produced since, as I said, Q4 2016. So since this point forward, from Q3 2016 on, all of these Teslas have the hardware necessary for full self-driving. So that's my video about Grant Belden, who is still hating hard on Tesla today. And with that, I will check back in with Loki to see that he is laying down. He's just opening his eyes right now because he heard me call his name. And I'll outro and say, if you've enjoyed today's video, click the like button. If you're not subscribed to my channel already, why not go ahead and subscribe to my channel over here and click the notification bell to be alerted whenever I post fresh content. Thank you to everyone who supports me for $4.20 a month on Patreon, for 69 cents a week on Twitter, or by joining my YouTube channel, as my two executive producers, Kathy Kitchler and Rebellionaire.com, did at the highest support tier, earning them a shout out at the end of every video, and I'll see you in the next one.